Hey there, students. Welcome to Unit 2, Lesson 4. Some of you might be turning into this going, Mr. Galt, I can't get to the quiz. That's great, because the quiz is dropped. We dropped a few of these quizzes. You can find those on our virtual classroom to see which assessments have been dropped. And this is one of those assessments. Does that mean you should skip the lesson altogether? No! It's a very important lesson. We're talking Magna Carta here. We're talking about the English Bill of Rights. We're talking about why we set up the government, why we set it up, the historical governments that have worked in the past that we based our government off of. So you definitely don't want to skip this. You definitely want to go into it. Speaking of that, let's get into it. Minimize me, maximize lesson. Yeah, like I said, due process, English Bill of Rights, feudalism, limited government, Magna Carta, petition of right. All those are very important vocabulary words that you will definitely want to know because you are responsible for knowing the reason we have our government. Many adults don't. You should. Back to this. If you were asked to design a perfect government, how would you begin? You might look at other governments from the past and present. Perhaps you would read historical documents that present demands for rights and plans for government. You might have also read that philosophers and other scholars might have to say about government and politics, and you should do that. For generations, monarchs assumed their right to rule with the claim that a deity bestowed upon them the authority to rule them. Okay, they're saying, hey, God said I could rule, therefore I'm ruling. Good, right? Yo, good? Thus, to go against the will of a monarch meant you went against the will of God. So if you're talking bad about the king, you're talking bad about God. That's not good. However, it is the rule of law that has proved the most durable in modern history. Essentially, it bases authority upon the people's trust in government to be fair and just. These two common types of legitimacy throughout history have been divine right of kings, monarchies, and the rule of law, democracies. So our democracy is more based, even though in God we trust, our democracy is more based that we think our government will do good things for us, and that's what governments are about. And some people like to argue against that. That's the whole purpose of arguing government sometimes, but we're not going into that. We're just talking about government. Speaking of government, do you know the historical roots of democracy? These paragraphs right here talk about a lot of things. They talk about how it all started out kind of around in Athens, the Greek city-state of Athens, where all the men above the age of 18 would meet, and they would vote on things themselves. They wouldn't elect people to vote on things. They would all show up to the courtyard and discuss laws they want to pass. Women, not allowed. Anybody else? Nope. Just Athenians over the age of 18 who were male. And then Rome was like, that's a pretty good idea, but we don't really have time for every male to meet because, we're conquering the world. Why not instead we elect males to meet for us? We will elect the males and they can meet for us and make the rules. That's more of a representative democracy, and that's what Rome did. Important words down here. Make sure that you check out this right here, these vocabulary, not the vocabulary. I'm so focused on vocabulary, but make sure you read the textbook right here. Another important thing is influential documents on American democracy. If you have not taken U.S. history yet, you have a treat. We have the best U.S. history teachers in America right here at South Carolina Connections Academy. But once you take United States history, you will need to know the influential documents on the American democracy. And let's look at some of those right now. There are the Magna Carta, the petition, the Magna Carta, petition of rights, and the English Bill of Rights. The Magna Carta was limited government, trial by due process, private property, rule of law, balanced power to the purse. These were things that they were saying that they had. These are the things that when it came to kings, they didn't want the kings to have too much trouble, so they passed the Magna Carta, limiting the power of the king. Very important start in our democracy. Make sure you read that. You can look right here for some other important documents. Also, as always, check out the resources we have on our virtual classroom. There you can find out so much information about how governments are set up. And remember, it's your responsibility to know these things. Other things, back to the work, not to my face. From American Democratic Principles, very important video you should watch here. And we talk about how our American government is based off past democracies. please make sure you look at that and the basics of democracy. That way you'll have a basic knowledge of what our government is built on and what a democracy means if you don't know already. Check out the video. It's awesome. Other things, rights around the world. You can learn Malala, I cannot pronounce her name. You know who I'm talking about. Won Nobel Prize. You can look at her speech at the United Nations. You can talk about how she was fighting for women's rights because a lot of democracy women are left out of. Make sure you read about that. And expanding democratic rights. That's one of the key things we're doing. That's one of the key things that leads to fights in this democracy is who gets the right to vote, who has the franchise. And that is a very important. Make sure you watch this quick video there too. And then you'll come to the quiz. And guess what? You don't have to take it. Once again, you do not have to take the quiz. So, here, I went through this lesson in 6 minutes. It gives you a basic foundation of what you need to know. You go through the lessons too. Learn about democracies, learn about the history of democracies, learn about how the history of democracy helped lead us to set our government, which is a democracy. You'll be rolling on. Thank you very much. As always, if you have questions, webmail me, webmail Mr. Huff. We'll be happy to help out. Thank you so much for your time today.